Ready? Yeah. It feels like the UK is on the brink of a revolution, a coup or some kind of resistance, which I have on good authority is very close. Families are stuck on council house waiting lists for years, but they're getting queue jumped by immigrants who get a brand new flat fresh into the UK. 150 grand earners working 60 hours a week in the UK are netting less than some asylum seekers with 3 kids getting up to £81,000 of benefits. Homeless people are sleeping rough, yet illegals get PlayStations, bikes, and free cookery classes. House prices and rents are through the roof, and both husband and wife now have to work 60 hours a week just to get a 30-year mortgage. People are being sold higher education, go to uni, and they're coming back. People are being sold higher education, they're going to university, and they're coming out with 45,000 to 75,000 pounds worth of debt, and they're never paying it off, and they're barely getting an average salary. This is what's making people angry. While politicians get private jets and rack up huge expenses, working people and now even the wealthy are struggling to make ends meet. So now I'm sad to say I am ashamed to be British. The UK is now officially the second most depressing country in the world. We used to have an empire, and now we don't even have a village. We are one of the highest tax nations in the world. £100 now feels like a tenner. Labour are bringing communism back to the UK. People are going to jail for social media posts. Our energy prices are now the highest in Europe. We have nearly 40% inflation since lockdown. No one can afford a house. The royal family is over since the Queen died. The NHS is broken. We don't manufacture or produce anything anymore. Nicking anything under 200 quid is now basically legal. You get your watches and your phones nicked in London. Our football team is shit. Our food is shit. Our football team is shit. Our football team is shit. Our food is shit. We're lazy as fuck. We're grumpy as fuck, including me. We now have to put cheese and mayonnaise and mince and chocolate bars in security lockboxes in supermarkets. And this, I think, is why everyone's fucking off to Dubai. So we need to take our power back in the UK. We need to put the great back into Great Britain. So we need to take our power back. So we need to take our power back in the UK. We need to put the great back into Great Britain. We need to put the united back into the United Kingdom. Say that again, Alex. Hey, everyone, tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Doing a live episode of Disruptors. Cheers. How do you think the UK is going, by the way? Let me know. Shouldn't eat a protein bar before I do this. Have a little rest. Actually, I've written a script for this. I don't normally write scripts, but we are live. Like more and more people I speak to really do think that the UK is doomed. It's really sad. What's good now about the UK? What's better now about the UK than 20 years ago, other than tech, which is better everywhere? All right, back, Alex. We need to take our power back, and we need to put the great back into Great Britain and the united back into the United Kingdom. But even London, the once capital of the world, is not a safe place anymore. Once the financial hub, the historical capital of the entire world, the attraction of the global super rich, the greatest tax haven. But now millionaires, billionaires, and ordinary people are leaving London in the masses. In fact, a millionaire leaves the UK every 30 minutes, but a non-working, non-earning immigrant enters the UK every 2 minutes. UBS predicts a net loss of 500,000 millionaires by 2028. But the average millionaire generates But the average millionaire generates £75,000 a year in taxes, while the average immigrant non-working family costs 44 a year in taxpayer money, and they are running the streets. People now get threatened with machetes in central London. Get your phone out, get stabbed. Get on the train, get stabbed. Get out your Rolex, get stabbed. Take your dog for a walk, get stabbed. Send your kids to a dance class, get stabbed. A phone is nicked every 7 minutes in London in broad daylight. People now watch and film the robberies at Rolex and gold and watch dealers. There are protests on the streets every week. Mayfair property prices have dropped 50%. Kensington and Chelsea has dropped 40%. ULEZ cameras track and trace your every move. You are fined everywhere you go. And theft in the UK is basically now legal in the petty crime area. In fact, I went to Pret a Manger to buy my breakfast. I handed over a tenner and the server checked it for being fake. I said, you get a lot of fake money here? I mean, it's a tenner. He said, you'd be shocked. Not only do we get a lot of fake money, but people start fights on the staff when we check the money, and now we have to wear body cams and have security guards at Pret a fucking Manger. And he showed me his body cam. This is for sandwiches and coffee. What the hell is happening in London and the UK? I was also in Costa Coffee in King's Cross, and a homeless person came in and he scooped all the sandwiches and nicked the whole lot in front of everyone. Now, this has happened twice, and both times I asked the server, aren't you going to do anything about it? We're told to do nothing. But if we all do nothing, then surely we're going to lose our beloved capital city of London. There are hundreds of pickpockets in London. There are hundreds of pickpockets in London, and people aren't just leaving for Dubai because of the taxes and the economy. They're leaving because they do not feel safe anymore in the UK. But not only has everything become so do not eat a protein bar before you go live. Hey, everyone on the live. Hope you're enjoying the live episode of Disruptors. I'm sad to say I believe everything I'm saying. I've done all the research on this content. I really think the UK is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm going to stay here and fight, by the way. I'm not leaving for Dubai. I want to make sure that, we're all represented and that things change. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay. I've spat everywhere. Not only that, but everything has become so expensive and so fast in this country. It is shocking the average financial person of someone in the UK. Personal debt of over 30 grand, mortgage debt of over 200 grand, savings of under £1,000, and a yearly salary of under 37,500. Back in 1980, if your parents earned 20 grand, you need to earn 100 grand now to afford the same lifestyle as them. Not even any better. £100 now only buys 18.6% of what it could back in 1980. So a fiver feels like a pound, and a £50 note feels like a tenner. Your money is being destroyed. In the UK now, it's £6 for a loaf of sourdough bread, £7 for a pack of butter, £8 for a pack of salmon, £21 on 3 items of food to make a fucking sandwich. In fact, you'd need to be paid $10,000. In fact, you'd need to be paid £10,000 a week to have the same spending power as a kid working at McDonald's in the early 1970s. The math says it's that bad now, and it's getting worse. Because 2 in 5 Brits now have less than 1,000 in savings. 46% of Brits couldn't even cover a £1,000 expense. 1 in 6 adults have no savings at all. That's 6.4 million people in the UK. That's 8.4 million people in the UK. 49% of UK workers live paycheck to paycheck, meaning their salary doesn't even cover their essential living costs. This is 16 million adults now in the UK. 73% of UK adults, which is over 25 million people, will fall short of even a moderate standard of 73% of UK adults, which equates to 25.4 million people, will fall short. 73% of UK adults, which equates to 25.4 million people, will fall short of even a moderate standard of living in retirement. This could get to 77% if state pensions link only to inflation. And if you choose to work hard in the UK and you choose to turn things around, you get taxed on everything. Earn it, taxed, save it, taxed, sell it, taxed, spend it, taxed, invest it, taxed, build it, taxed, live in it, taxed, drive it, taxed, eat it, taxed, drink it, taxed, smoke it, taxed, give it away, taxed, die, still taxed. And then they go and waste it all. But back to the wastage in a moment. Let's take a typical day in the UK. You wake up in a house you pay tax to buy. Then you pay council tax every month to live in the house you've already paid tax to buy. Then you turn on the TV, which is taxed, and you pay to watch the TV, which is already taxed. Then you drive a heavily taxed car to work where you're taxed, and you fill it with taxed petrol, and you pay taxed insurance and tax congestion charges just to get to work, to get taxed, if you can navigate and avoid all the fucking potholes. You finally make it to work and you pay 50% of your income in tax and national insurance. You buy something with the money that's left and it's 20% VAT tax. You want a holiday, it's airport tax and flight tax and hotel tax. You want to relax, it's cigarettes tax, alcohol tax. And then when you finally die, it's 40% inheritance tax. But it gets worse. The average household pays over $4,000 a year in tax on interest on national debt. The ex-chancellor of the UK told me this. More than $4,000 a year of your hard-earned tax-paid money is on interest of someone else's loan that you get zero benefit from. Imagine earning 100 quid in the UK where you'll pay minimum £30 income tax. Then you're left with £70. Then you put 70 quid's worth of fuel in your car and you pay 59% fuel duty and 20% VAT, which is £41.46 of the £70, which means the government just got £71.46 from your hard-earned 100 quid. And if you start to earn good money in the UK, you earn less after tax on 150 grand than you do on 100 grand. This is no joke. It's ridiculous. Over 100 grand, you lose your personal allowance and childcare. Over 100 grand, you lose your personal allowance and you lose your childcare. So your effective tax rate goes over 60%. You earn more at 99 grand net than you do over 140,000 pounds. If you're tuning in, I'm just having a massive rant about the UK. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you disagree. I like everything I've said. I've completely researched. We're doing a live episode for Disruptors. So with a family of 4 and 2 kids, you'd need 149 grand just to match 99 grand after tax. This is literally a 50% salary penalty for earning more money in the UK. Yeah, 150 grand earner who pays £53. Yet 150 grand earner who pays 53,460 in income tax. Oh, someone said I'm on the mark here. Sorry. I've prepared some content here. Right. Let me know if there's anything that I've missed in the comments. So get my energy back. Having a big fuck off rant about the UK. Put all of the stuff together that I've been researching over the last year or two. Doing a big, massive Disruptors episode on it. You are watching here live. Thanks for tuning in. And these, by the way, I did all my research and then I researched my research and then I asked ChatGPT and Grok to challenge my research. So as far as I'm concerned, this is all complete fact. Why is it that 150 grand earner pays 53,460 pounds in income tax, but someone who earns 25,000 pays just 2,486? And it takes more than 20 low-rate taxpayers to match. And it takes 20 low-rate taxpayers to match the tax revenue of one high-tax earner. Yet 44.7% of the UK population don't contribute any income tax at all. And the top 1% pay 33% of all the tax. And the top 10% pay 69% of all the tax revenue. Yet everyone's screaming tax the rich, and it's all the rich people. Yet everyone's screaming tax the rich, and of course it's the problem. Yet everyone's screaming tax the rich, and of course the rich are the problem. But the rich aren't the problem. The rich are getting taxed more and more. The problem is the disgusting, disgraceful, and vile wastage of taxpayer money. Oh, and by the way, here's the proof. The Sunday Times rich list of the top 10 UK taxpayers is out. I won't read all 10, but you know what 6 of the top 10 highest taxpayers in the UK have in common? 6 of them have fucking left the country. So, highest, Fred and Peter Dunn and family, 401 million in tax they paid. Second highest, a trader paid 331.4 million. Third highest, a bond trader paid 330 million. Even the 8th, 9th, and 10th are paying 200 million, 175 million, 121 million, 2.5 billion in tax from the top 10 business owners in the UK. But apparently the problem is the rich. And now 6 of them have left, which means billions in tax revenue has gone with them. Yet the rhetoric is the same from Labour and the left. Tax the rich more. We need to tax the rich more. We need to tax the rich more. Well, do you know it takes 562,000 lower tax rate payers to pay the same tax as just the 6 people who've gone and left the country? So careful what you wish for, because who's now footing the bill of these? So careful what you wish for, because who's now footing the bill of these tens of thousands of millionaires who are leaving the country every year? When are the UK going to wake up to what's really going on? You are literally exiled in the UK for working hard and contribute. You are literally exiled in the UK for working hard and contributing taxes. And then let's say you want to start a company, and you're going to stick at it and work hard in the UK. You're going to stick at it and work hard in the UK. You love this country. Well, you get hammered and penalized with 20% VAT, 25% corporation tax, 45% income tax, 15% national insurance, thousands in business rates. Yet we have a huge unemployment problem here in the UK, and you're penalized by 15% of a salary in national insurance. Makes no sense whatsoever. Then if you own assets, it's 28% capital gains tax. Then if you want to buy a house and get on the housing ladder, it's up to 15% stamp duty. Then it's up to $5,000 a year in council tax just to have your bins changed twice a month. If you save money, you're taxed. If you go to university, you're 53 grand average degree in debt that barely gets you an average wage. In fact, it goes up even when you pay it off because the interest goes up more than your repayments. People are stuck in college debt for the rest of their lives. And then when you die after paying 70% of everything that you earned in your life in taxes and interest, a final 40% in inheritance tax. So I believe now we're moving into the stage in the cycle of extreme socialism or even communism here in the UK. Now, socialism is when you take 100 grand from one productive person who works and you give £10,000 each to 10 people who don't work. And then you blame that one productive person for all the country's problems so that the 10 people will vote for you. Then the productive millionaires leave, the system implodes on itself, and we're back to square one again. Like with socialism, imagine having 2 cows, the government will take one. With communism, you have 2 cows, the government will take both and give you a ration of milk. But with capitalism, you have 2 cows, you sell one, you buy a bull, and you build a thriving herd. But with Labour, you have 2 cows, the government takes both, it drinks the milk, it eats the meat, it has a party in lockdown, it makes you pay the bill, and it blames you when there's nothing left. This part of the cycle is very dangerous. So step 1 is socialists scream, tax the rich. Step 2 is the rich leave. Step 3, the socialists celebrate. Oh, look at the Green Party. Woo! Woo! Step 4, tax revenues go down because all the millionaires have left. Step 5, tax goes up on the working people who are supposedly protected. Step 6, socialists go broke. Step 6, socialists go broke because they run out of other people's money. They're voted out. And step 7, capitalism comes back and saves the day. Step 8, taxes go down again. Step 9, the economy thrives and grows. And then step 10, socialists scream, tax the rich. Be careful what you wish for. And so this cycle just continues and continues. And the sooner we get to step 6 and get the socialists out, the better society will be for everyone. Because in the first year under Labour, get this, taxes went up 55 billion in 1 year, 1 million more people on welfare and 300 billion spent, 200,000 more people unemployed. That's 11% of the UK not working when normal is 2%. 150,000 more civil servants in the last 10 years, yet economic growth is down from 3% a year to 0.5%, which is basically negative growth. National debt has increased by 370 billion and is 100% of GDP. 188 billion spent on the broken NHS, yet the average wait list time is 14.4 weeks. And 8 million people are on some kind of big backlog waiting list. It is ridiculous. 9 billionaires left in the year Labour got in power. 16,800 millionaires left. UBS predicts that's going way up, by the way. There's 70 billion in investable wealth that's gone to Monaco and Dubai with these 9 billionaires. 6 of them are the top 10 highest taxpayers in the UK. 12,000 people have been arrested for social media posts. There's strikes and wars costing the economy hundreds of billions of pounds. Now imagine having a bucket with a big hole in it. Why would you just keep pouring more water into it? Why wouldn't you fix the hole? And we need to stop making the rich the scapegoats. We need to stop putting the mass population into more and more debt, and we need to stop wasting billions. We need to start, 1, getting people back to work, reducing welfare, increasing productivity. 2, we need to reduce the size of the government and free up all this revenue and bureaucracy, like Elon Musk did with Twitter. We'll come back to that. And then 3, we need to fix these broken systems like the NHS, the police, and the education system, which cost hundreds of billions of pounds. We need to fight for our freedom, and we must fight for cash. 453,230 UK bank accounts were forcibly closed last year. That's 10 times higher than closures 10 years ago. 50,000 more banks will close this year, and they'll have you believe it's, financial crime, it's for your safety, it's the high streets. But no, it's way more sinister. Because the truth is, if you post something online and the banks don't like it, they can just shut you down. You can be debanked for a social media post or your political opinion. No notice, no reason. Ask Nigel Farage about that. Now, in France and Belgium, you have the legal right to a bank account, not in the UK. So a cashless society and digital currencies and now debanking mean that your cash isn't even yours anymore. And if you don't comply, they can have your banks closed and your money frozen. So welcome to 2026. So once again, it feels like we're on the brink of a revolution in the UK. And we will be remembered as the last generation to taste freedom in this country unless things change fast. Digital IDs, cashless societies, social credit systems, online safety acts, driverless cars. They want to stop you going anywhere, stop you working, suspend your digital ID. They want to control when, where, and how much you spend. Digital currency, universal basic income. They want to fine and tax you for anything and everything. Social credit system. They want to silence you and imprison you for your opinion. Online Safety Act. They want to control and stop where you go and when you go. Driverless cars. Our generation will be remembered as the last to have any kind of freedom. So I end on the positive. Here's how I'd fix the broken UK in 10 or 11 steps. So I'd like to finish on something positive. Maybe you'll share this. Here's how I'd fix the broken UK economy in 11 steps. Number one, fire most of the existing government. 80% of the civil service probably aren't needed. It's just bureaucracy. It costs us billions. Elon Musk fired 80% of Twitter. It still seems to work. Number two, increase the salaries in the higher positions in politics significantly, because we need to attract better quality politicians. And at the high level, it's a hard job. I know that might be controversial, but I think we need to attract people who care, people who want to do something. They don't just want to be someone. Number three, we should have a board of all the best UK entrepreneurs and billionaires advising the government on the economy. Number four, we should offer employers fair tax breaks. We should make sure that big corporations pay more taxes than they do, or they get tariffs, but still make UK attractive for the big corporations and the millionaires and the billionaires, because they generate all the tax revenue. Number five, we need to lure back all the exiled billionaires and millionaires, and they need to bring their companies and their jobs and their billions back to the UK. Number six is we need to privatize most of the public services and create free and fair market competition. The public services are big sinkholes with hundreds of billions of pounds, just like our roads have sinkholes in the form of potholes. Number seven, my immigration policy would be, if you offer value, we'll let you in. If you don't, you have to leave. Number eight, no tax for the first year of starting your own business and employing people. Number nine, a simple, singular, flat tax structure. None of these tens of thousands of complicated pages of the tax code and all these different taxes taxing you on everything, everywhere. One simple, flat rate, easy and fair for everyone. Number 10, we need to launch great apprentice schemes in the UK and get the homeless off the streets, give them confidence, teach them to work again. These trades could make people very good money and give that pride back to people at the lower end or unemployed in the UK. And number 11, we must fully invest in tech and AI, especially to help get back our public services. We need to produce in the UK, work, build and innovate. We need to reward based on merit, and we need to get Labour out quick, because we need to take the power back in the UK. We need to put the great back into Great Britain and the united back into the United Kingdom. All right, everyone. My live episode has finished. I've done the filming. How'd you get on? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you agree? Personally, I've highly researched all those points. I feel really shit. I'm staying in the UK. I'm not leaving for Dubai. That would be the easy thing to do. But this country is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I even got AI to challenge my own research. But unfortunately, it's getting worse. So if you'd like to make sure that your financial situation doesn't get any worse, if you'd like to save on the wasted money, if you'd like to learn how to get your tax down, if you'd like to learn how to build multiple streams of income, I recommend you join my money school. Now, university will put you 53,000 in debt in 3 years. Money school will cost you less than 50p a day. You can cancel anytime. No ongoing contract. It's basically free. There's hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses to make, manage, and multiply money. So the link to join is money.school. That's money.school. Simply open up a web page now and type in money.school. Alex, I wonder if you could type it in the comments. If you could put the https:// and then it's money.school. No commitment, because you can cancel anytime, no ongoing contract. You can just go in and check all the content. If you want to learn about AI, learn how to start a business, learn how to monetize social media, learn how to be a creator, learn how to invest. There's homeschooling series for kids in there. If you want to self-educate, because the more you learn, the more you earn. You don't want to get tens of thousands in debt to learn. I recommend you join money.school. I'm on a mission to help as many people on the planet get better financial knowledge. I am disrupting the education system. I think it's out of date at best. It's probably a bit of a scam at worst. You can go to university and learn about puppetry. Well, that'll be really useful for you making money in these disruptive times. Why aren't you taught about how inflation really works? Why aren't you taught about where and how to protect and invest your money? Why aren't you taught how to earn enough to beat inflation and taxes. Why aren't you taught how the tax system works? Not taught any of this stuff. And all of this on an ongoing basis is on money.school for less than 50p a day. So basically per month is about the same as Netflix. Netflix is a propaganda machine, whereas money.school can help you make, manage, and multiply more money. So the link to join is money.school. Oh, and by the way, I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary in business with my business partner. So the first 20 of you on this link, money.school, right now that go and join, you can come and meet me at an event called Moneymaker Summit. I'll teach you how my 5 M's have gone from 0 to 6 figures. My 5 P's have gone from 6 to 7, and my 5 S's have gone from 7 to 8 figures. I'll bring in 5 or 6 multimillionaire friends and mentors, and they'll each teach you their best strategy for making recurring and passive income. We'll have bonus money mindset session in the morning. We'll have a boardroom mastermind in my boardroom upstairs in the lunch. We'll have champagne reception and drinks together and Q&A sessions in the evening. These tickets are anywhere from a few £100s up to £1,200 because it's our 20th anniversary. I will give the first 20 of you who join money.school 2 tickets. I'll pay for the venue. I'll pay for the food. You just have to get here. So go and jump on money.school, and then we'll get you in on the Money Maker Summit. Now, people say money doesn't make you happy, but it does pay for inflation. And it does buy a few nice cars, and it does buy a couple of nice houses, and it doesn't mean you can leave the country if there's a lockdown. It doesn't mean you could move somewhere else really quickly. You know, billionaires, they do pay a lot of tax, but they also can hire good accountants and get their tax bill down. And if something happens in the UK, they can just leave because they can afford it. So money is the tool that buys all happiness. Now, you can be unhappy and rich, but you can also be unhappy and broke. And I've been broke and I was unhappy. And I am rich. And, you know, I still have challenging times, but I am much happier. So what if someone that you love gets a terminal or near terminal illness? Well, if you're rich, then you can afford to look after them and help them. You can help your family. You can do lovely things with the people that you love when you are rich. Now, everyone, I believe, deserves to be rich. Why isn't everyone rich? Because the system doesn't want you to be, because it wants to put all the money at the top. And I'm decentralizing money and your ability to be wealthy and making it free and fair for everyone inside money.school. So someone has asked for the link again. Chris, it's just type in money.school, or Alex, if you could add it in the comments one more time. Just type in money.school. First 20, I'll get you the Moneymaker Summit tickets as well. You'll meet me personally. I'll sign your book if you want. We could have a photo. People tend to like that. And yeah, there's probably 22 hours of hardcore content. In fact, I've got one talk on how to get your tax bill down. And you have to turn your phones off, and it has to be private, but 90 minutes of 12 ways to get your tax bill way down. That, by the way, the government allow you to do. They just confuse the shit out of you and no one knows how to do it. So the link is money.school. Really appreciate you all. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry it was a bit depressing, but I think reality is important. But of course, I did give my solutions at the end. And remember this: invest for freedom, choice, and profit, because if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. I'll see you in money.school. Over and out.